It's cold enough here this morning. There's ice in the cat water bowls this morning. Well, the outside water bowls. Yeah, Dawn's been soaking up the information on the new V3 supercharger this morning.
Yep. Yeah, I think two things came out, although I haven't finished reading the whole article. First thing is I think that once this thing really gets deployed, I'm not talking about what they actually did to do the little demo. I think that the new charger is actually going to be the 1 megawatt power packs that they're selling to utilities. And it's that 1 megawatt's going to drive 4 250 kilowatt chargers and also shave the peak. So I think that's part of the reason why they said they're not going to go back and change out the ones they've got. In other words, this is sort of like they're going to have to install this new thing. They'd say that the thing, yes, right there today has a battery. But I think the most important thing everybody missed, that I think I figured it out, is I think Tesla's going to quit talking kilowatts. They're not going to say 250 kilowatts or 350 or 400 or 500 or any of that. They're just going to give away all that. They're going to start talking about our chargers are 1,000 mile per hour chargers. Our chargers are 2,000 miles.
That sounds so much more impressive.
Our chargers are 580 miles. I don't know what they're going to talk in terms of miles. Just like the range. They don't talk about, oh, well, this is 100D. No. This is the 310 mile long range car. So
right, something more tangible for the average person.
They're not going to get into this numbers.
Yeah.
That's the thing I think is the most important.
Well, when we tell people about charging at home, we tell them, you know, typically you would get between 15 and 30 mile an hour at home
per
overnight.
Hour charging,
yeah, and that's what they understand. So that makes sense.
Yeah, well, because pretty soon that state of charge on the thing, you know, all that's going to go, you know, you're just simply going to get in your car and it says, oh, I've planned your route to Atlanta and here's the stop you need to make. And oh, by the way, since you didn't plug me in last night, you need to go buy this supercharger over here.
But I did plug in last night.
Right, we did. Everything's good. Ruby's fine.
There's no additional surprises this morning. Don't scare me like that.
Yeah, well, the only thing we ever seem to ever need a supercharger really for is because we forget to plug in.
Yeah.
And notice I did say we forget to plug in.
Thank you.
Yeah. Well, Ruby even reminds us that she's not plugged in.
Hey, 3 times out of 365 days last year wasn't bad.
Well,
wasn't bad.
2 years, actually.
Yeah,
I agree.
We did get down to 23 last night here at the house, and it is quite chilly this morning. Dawn figured out that Ruby charged past 6 a.m. again, and that's because, good morning, Ruby. That's because TeslaFi somehow had gotten updated to turn off charging at 8:58 instead of 5:58 a.m. and that's been corrected. Yeah, all Dawn can figure is that there was either a software glitch in TeslaFi, or more likely we were in there looking at stuff and somehow typoed over top of the stop time. I don't know. It doesn't matter. It works great. We charged a couple extra minutes on a couple of mornings. It's fixed now. No big deal. So Johnny is already reading the news this morning. And what'd you find, bud?
Someone spotted a Tesla carrier. Guess what was on the carrier? A camouflaged pickup truck.
Wow. And that's on Electrek. I'll have to check that out when I get home. Thanks for pointing it out, bud. Have a good day, buddy. I'll see you for robotics, but I'll be in the van.
Okay.
All right. Love you.
Love you too.
Bye. Bye. I was really hoping for a shiny Machop this morning, but no such luck, not on any of the accounts. And one spot I was at, there were 5 of them. So I shiny checked all 15, 3 accounts, 5 on each, and no luck. But I'll keep trying. There's a few days left. I'm still happy about the shiny Mankey. Hopefully I'm not going to burn breakfast. So Don's feeling quite impassioned this morning about an email correspondence he had with a viewer.
Right.
And it's back to the, should Tesla close the sales stores or not?
Right. And
what do we think, and how should we respond to that?
Well, first of all, I think it's the right move. I want to be very clear. I absolutely think going down the dealership, big fancy sales, boutiques, lots of salespeople replicating the dealership model, but it's really not quite the dealership model. I think that is a mistake. So I totally concur that closing what we have and just going to web-only sales is the right answer. So having said that, now I totally think and fault Elon for the timing and the method he announced that. I totally agree that he screwed that all up. You know, as I told this the viewer, look, I know with a Band-Aid you got to rip it off, okay?
And it's going to hurt.
It's going to hurt. So when you do it, you got to get it out there. So I accept that he had to make this thing. But I also know with a Band-Aid, I get to decide when I'm going to pull it off and which direction I'm going to pull. I can tell, no, do it this way or that way. So he had more control over this than, and I think he screwed the pooch. And he made it, I literally said in the note, I wonder if he purposely was trying to drive the stock price down on purpose. You know, Elon's, it's like a chess. I used to play JV in chess. He says, well, Donnie, I got like 3, 4, 5.
That's Don's brother.
5 moves ahead. Me as a chess player, I barely can think of the next move. I can't even think 3 or 4 moves down the road, Well, Elon, he maybe already thought 10 steps down the road.
He's got checkmate.
Yeah.
He just,
And I can't, I understand. So anyway, I totally get that. But my point is, look, if people knew when they went into the dealership at, Audi, BMW, Mercedes, you name the car dealership, they're always in the most expensive real estate.
I'm checking it.
They're always...
We're good.
Those cars that you're going out there kicking the tires, they all cost money. Now, granted, you can say it's the dealer model, but the end result is you, the buyer, if you knew that you paid $5,000 at least more for the car than if you would have went to the web, and if you had a 7-day return policy and 1,000 miles, which would you rather do? I personally am in the camp that I'm willing to do that for a $60,000 car. Well, that's which you said is what you expected to pay for your Model 3 even before you decided we were getting a performance one. Right. Because you knew options were going to add up. I was never deceived that it was going to be $35,000. I know that a lot of people are totally dumbfounded that you can buy a Tesla Model 3 and it costs over $60,000. I never was surprised about that. I knew that was going to happen. Look, I would have never bought the Model X. At the money that we paid for the Model X, I would have never bought that without the face-to-face. But Elon's not trying to sell $100,000 cars. Yeah, he is trying to sell them, but that's not the future. The future is not $100,000 plus cars. The future is what I consider the reasonably priced car, the $40,000 to $50,000 range. That's, closer to 40 would be better, but nonetheless, under $50,000. The only way you're going to get under $50,000 is you can't have a $5,000 overhead of a store where they serve you nice little coffee. I personally, for $5,000, would be glad to buy it on the internet. So replicating the dealer model or that boutique experience is a total waste. It was never going to work. The dealership models, the Mercedes, the BMWs, the Audi dealers, they've all bought their real estate. They've already built their chrome stuff up and it's all shiny path. Tesla's going to have to take money out of their pocket to do all of that. And they're paying top real estate prices to do it. So now they skip all that. So the long term is the Audi dealer, even though the e-tron's a great car, it's always going to be $5,000 or more than it should be because the dealer has got to have it. People say, oh, well, dealers don't make any money. That's true, they don't make any profit when they sell a car. But they do cover the commission, the lot fee, the maintenance, finance, otherwise they'd be out of business. So they're covering their costs selling you the car. They make all their profit on service. In other words, while they're flying around in their jet, drinking martinis, flying to the Bahamas for vacation, a golfing outing, the profit is all in the service department. But the overhead was covered by the sales. So you paid for that, all that chrome and glass and that beautiful lot. And you know, they don't, if they would have itemized that out on your sales invoice, commission, $4,800, what is it, storage fee, $1,250, coffee and amenities in the sales room, $500. If they would have itemized that all out, you would have said, like hell. So you got to start thinking about it. That stuff ain't free. That salesman running out there, well, let me get you a cup of coffee. He ain't doing that because he likes you. He's doing that because you're going to put money in his palm, baby. He's got right here tapped to pay me. So that's what you got to keep in mind. So I'm totally supportive of closing all of I like the Tesla salesperson we had. I think he was fantastic.
Yeah.
But if you're trying to change the world and make transportation sustainable, folks, you can't do it with the dealership model. They ain't into it.
Told Don, people like it when he's passionate about what he's saying, when he's you know, got a real emotion behind it. So because we were talking and then I turned on the camera, but look, we went to Tesla right when the 60D Model S battery pack was announced that it was going away. That's right. And Don thought we had a reservation on a 3, and Don thought that maybe, just maybe, we might want a Model S instead of a 3. That maybe moving me from my Honda minivan to the Model 3 was going to be a stretch. And our sales rep up there, Steven, he was great. We made an appointment online and we got there that day, and Steven was the person that met us. We didn't pick him. I don't know that he picked us, but that's just the way it worked out. And so he smartly said, well, let's drive an S and an X, and let's both of you drive the S and the X. And Don and I, neither one, maybe we didn't have the seat adjusted right, probably not, weren't comfortable in the S. It was too low to get in and out.
I was looking at the sun visor.
And then we got in the X, and I already liked those wings.
She already was in there.
And it was sort of a done deal. So instead of walking away with the least expensive Model S, we walked away with the Model X with all of the features except for, at the time, the winter package and
we should have bought
ludicrous performance. Johnny has asked for heated rear seats a number of times, and we do wish that we had that. That's right. So, but like Don said, going out and buy a Model 3 on the website, $60,000, good. Go buy the Model X, sight unseen, no test drive ever. That probably wouldn't have happened without Steven taking us on that test drive and answering our questions, and
because it's beyond the
walking us through the process of Don signing his name on the on the checks.
Well, it's beyond the, it's just, I wasn't in the mindset of paying that kind of over $100,000 for a car. But I was totally in the mindset of paying $60,000 for a car. So I'm saying, I get it. Not 75% of the people are not going to buy a car unless they get to kick the tires and drive it around. Got that? Give you that. 75% absolutely will never buy a Tesla online because they absolutely have to kick the tires right. Okay, but that leaves 25% of the people who are open to possibly buying a car online, possibly buying it even sight unseen. And then you got to add that the other group of people in that 25%. There's a chunk of people who, like me, have bought 3 new cars, and I know I would rather have a colonoscopy than to go to do a deal with a car dealer. Okay, it is like almost my least favorite thing because it costs me money. It is not a pleasurable thing. I feel like the dealer made their entire profit that year on me. That's how bad I felt ripped off. Now you can say, well, that's a fault of you, Don. You're not a good negotiator. Well, are you sure You're a good negotiator?
Right, because their job is to make you feel like you were a good negotiator.
That $5,000, $7,000, $8,000 I was talking about, you didn't pay that too? You somehow you got that and you didn't have to pay all that? I don't think so. I think somebody's deceiving themselves.
Yeah, I think I remember hearing you say that you would rather write Tesla a check for XYZ, even if it was a lot, than negotiate with somebody else who was obviously trying to, you know, charge you more than. Look, at least you knew you were paying the same thing everybody else was, and you liked that.
Right. So what I'm saying is there's a chunk of people who actually will pay money to avoid the dealer. I probably would put myself in the camp, but I'm not typical. But I'm saying is they only have to sell, there's 17 million cars going to be sold in the US. Tesla's only going to have to sell like 2 to 3%. And that's 500,000 cars. And they only want to sell 500,000 cars worldwide. I think the worldwide sales is like 80 million cars. So you got to understand, they don't need 98% of the customers to buy their car online. They only need 1% and it will max out Tesla sales. So there is enough people who are willing to buy it sight unseen on the web that going to this model right now is okay. Now maybe in 10 years when everybody is doing it, maybe Tesla needs to have more than 1% of the people buy their cars. But if Tesla could get 1% of the people buying their cars, they'd be just fine. Yeah.
It's rubbing on the arm there?
Yeah, when it turns.
Well, how can that be if the tires are the right size?
Well, it's just a scooch.
And on my way to robotics at the school, Don's in Ruby and he's on his way up to Tesla. He took a picture underneath the inside, back behind the wheel as best as he could, and could kind of see where things were rubbing. Don gave the van a quick power wash for me, so it's reasonably clean. I think the hardest thing for me is remembering to use the brake like it's a nice car. Well,
all fixed.
Right, I was gonna say, first of all, Ruby is fixed, and Dawn came to swap vehicles with me so I wouldn't have to drive the van back to Fuquay.
Yeah.
So
my way to be sweet to my sweetie, so she at least, you know, will smile once or twice at me.
Yeah, my stomach's been upset because of this whole thing. So tell us what was wrong.
Well, I got up to Tesla, and Chris and I forget the other gentleman's name. He was super nice. I told him, look, it was rubbing on the control arm. The rim was rubbing. He says, well, I bet I know what it is. And they went out and just kind of like bent over, looked, and said, yep, that's what's wrong. They've put the rear rim on the front, and obviously the front rim's on the rear, but the rear rim is 10 millimeters wider. It's just a scotch wider, and that's just enough to cause the rub. And so I took it back over to discount tires, and of course the manager was just apoplectic, upset that they had screwed this up, and they were very nice, apologetic, and he went and got his best guy, and I definitely agree, the guy who worked on the...
You mean they didn't put the best guy on the Tesla in the first place after I told him how stressed I was and everything when we showed up over there?
That's right. And he
take a deep breath, Marianne.
Caleb was the young man's name, and he was very efficient. I mean, he knew what he was doing, and he took his time, and he cleaned the rims and tires, and put gray valve stem caps back on everything. He just did it, you know, he did what he was supposed to do. He checked this side just to double check that they didn't screw this side up too. So I was very happy with his work. He did good.
If only they'd just been a little more careful in the first place.
Right. Well,
I mean, you and Ben, who is just at the counter in the front, knew the tires were not the same front to back. And
right. Well, and I'm not making excuses, but I think part of it has to do with their fact that they team up.
Yeah, they had like 4 people working on the car to get it out of there, and who could keep track of which tire came off of which
and
wheel.
could lead to a situation. So my recommendation is, take the valve stiff caps off, and then double check, double stress that on a Model X, not the same on the Model 3 and the Model S. Well, I think the Plus, the old P85 Plus had staggered wheels, so the X's have staggered wheels, so they know now. And
so we're sure that little bit of rubbing that there's no.
I took a photo, a real good photo of it, so you can see it now. We'll put it in the video so everybody can see it.
Well, that one that you took at the house was pretty good. Yeah.
Well, I got
another one. Okay. But we're sure there's no long-term damage.
I don't think it's anything wrong whatsoever.
Well, I'm gonna try to let it go because it's sort of been making me sick.
Right. You need.
Don't say it was a self-fulfilling prophecy either, because that wouldn't be fair.
Well,
getting all worked up that they were going to screw it up, and then they messed it up.
Right. I told the Tesla guy, I told Chris, look, it had nothing to do with me not buying tires for Tesla. It had nothing to do with not being happy with Tesla or anything. I said, if I could have bought tires and had y'all put them on, that's exactly what I would have done. But they won't do that. That's Tesla's policy. It's not Chris. That's just Tesla's policy. So,
and Tesla doesn't have road hazards. You have to go out and buy the road hazard from somebody else anyway.
That's right.
They don't do road hazard, and God, I've had 2 nails on the last set of tires. I kind of need road hazard.
Right. And the thing is, honestly, with I don't know if these are going to last longer. I mean, based on some comments and information I got from email and other viewers of our video blog, these are supposed to be really good tires, and last longer. And so anything, I don't think you can buy tires that last any less time than the Continental. So I think any tire probably is going to be an improvement. And these are all high rate. These are not junk tires.
Right. And they look nice on Ruby. They have like this little pattern thing, swirly pattern thing going on with them. They look okay. They're different, but they look nice. They're fine.
These are high quality V-rated tires. I mean, all the.
Well, I guess you're gonna live, because I can still go to track day and we're not off the track waiting on some part to show up, because that was my biggest fear when you left earlier today, is, oh no, they're gonna need to order parts and it's not going to be fixed until next week. And yeah, that was my biggest concern. So, all right. I love you. I love you too. Well, you're not the one that put the tire on wrong.
I know.
And everyone you talked to said it was safe to take it there, and yeah.
It's just our luck.
I say, but look, tell them now, if it had been up to me, who would have put the tires on Ruby? What would we have done? We'd have Continentals back on Ruby, and Tesla would have put them on. That's where Marianne wanted to do. Okay, just for the record, this was Yep.
Tightwad Don. Don't like paying 6 cents a mile to drive for tires.
I love you.
I love you too.
I really appreciate Dawn making the effort to drive up to Tesla and then over to Discount Tire. That was actually a lot of driving, all the way up to RTP and then down to Cary and then over to here to get things fixed, so we would for sure be ready for the weekend and before, something bad happened to Ruby. I'm disappointed that we left with a problem. I guess I'm glad they made it right, and I'm glad there doesn't appear to be any permanent harm done. Don showed me the pictures, and I agree with him that there wasn't any permanent harm done. So, all's well that ends well. I'm not going to bash those guys over there. I'm sure it'll never happen again now that it's happened to Ruby, and we've all learned a valuable lesson, right? And Don had, communicated about the tire sizes and everything, but I think, like he said, they had a team of people on the car, and unless you're going to put a sticky note on the ones for the front and the ones for the back or something, or one person's going to do it and just do one at a time so that can't happen, when you just pull all 4 wheels off at one time and they're over there sort of stacked up and you're replacing the tires, you know, you can see where that kind of problem could happen. So we learned something. I think the thing would be is that, you know, they were careful with the jacking and they were really polite to us and they let me film yesterday, and I'm not going to bash them. I'm just not. But I think the thing that I would want is, like, let's just do one tire at a time and let's just have one guy on the car so that, you know we can keep up with, or at most 2 guys and do 2 tires at a time, and you come back to the one you took off or something. That probably would have prevented the problem. But we learned, y'all are learning through us, and I'm sure they've learned, and it won't happen again. So all's well that ends well. Just a little extra stress and lost time this week. Robotics, I was really trying to give the boys my full attention and to be patient. We made some progress, but not the kind of tangible progress that I was hoping to be able, you know, not stuff I could really show you, like some smaller progress. So we actually don't meet for the next 3 weeks because, you know, the school is taking some trips over the spring break, and the 2 teachers that help me with robotics help with the trips. Or one's going to Europe, and well, they're both going to Europe, but one's going to London and France, and the other's going to Spain. So they need the Thursday before to get ready for the spring break trip, and then they need the Thursday after because they're taking a day or 2 off to recover from the trip. So we'll meet, I think it ends up being the first week in April again, that Thursday. Well, you're looking like you're in the nap position.
I am. I didn't get to take a nap today because I had to take Ruby around and get her taken care of.
Yeah, I told them in the video clip I recorded that you had to go Tesla and Discount Tire, and that was actually quite some miles. Ruby was down to 92 when you turned her over to me, so
That's right.
Yeah. So you had a good dinner?
Oh God, it was to die for. Steak fajitas, it was with onions.
I pan-fried some chuck eye steaks in the cast iron skillet, sauteed up some fresh Vidalia onions.
Oh, yeah, they were to die
and
for.
Served up some soft shell tacos, sour cream, fresh guacamole with bacon bits in it.
Oh, yeah.
And mammoth cheddar cheese shredded up. So we're all sort of good luck on your taekwondo, Johnny.
Yeah, really.
And it's time to go. Love you, buddy.
Love you too, Mom.
See you in a bit. That's 2 days in a row with extra mileage for Ruby, 144.1. And we're down under 20% again. 47 miles of additional range.